Felissa Rose, thank you so much for cutting the time out of your day to join us tonight.
Aw, thanks for having me.
So obviously we're going to talk about Sleepaway Camp at some point, but I don't want to focus on Sleepaway Camp because I feel like that's what everyone wants to talk to you about.
Wait, what's Sleepaway Camp?
Exactly. I want to talk about you because like I did a deep dive. I researched you, and you have had an amazing life, man. Fucking
that's so sweet.
So all right,
That's
so let's
true.
start with the fact
True.
that you're a New Yorker, which is awesome. My whole family is from Queens, so like I appreciate that.
Ah, thank you.
You grew up in Woodbury. So first of all, Woodbury is cool because it's suburbia, but it's right next to New York City.
Yeah.
Do you think that like growing up in proximity to New York like that, do you think that influenced your interest in acting at all?
Absolutely, 100%. Because I took all of my lessons in New York City.
Awesome.
And it was terrifying.
Yeah.
Because those were like the real Broadway teachers who were like, do it and do it right. So if you can it's kind of like, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Sure.
If you could make it in those classes, you certainly have like fucking balls, so to speak. You know?
Yeah. And I guess you just had access to all the best instructors just with your proximity to New York.
I loved my teachers. I definitely owe everything to. Is this audio a little better? I'm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
nice.
Okay. I think I really had like the greatest teachers. They became some of my closest friends, and they supported me. And I was really insecure as a kid, just like any adolescent.
Sure.
And they really kind of instilled a lot of confidence in me, and that gave me the drive and the ambition to go forward. So thanks to them.
Who were some of your favorites?
Deidre Alexander was like she was my teacher throughout my kind of like from 9 years old to about 13 when I landed Sleepaway Camp. So she was very important in my life. Haven't spoken to her in years. And then all of my teachers in college. I went to Tisch School of the Arts at NYU, and
Hell yeah.
all of those teachers were amazing. And Adam Sandler was there, and he even put a couple of our teachers in his films, and it was just like a family. So you felt very comfortable.
I know a few people who either know or have hung out with Adam Sandler, and everyone that I've ever spoken to has said that he is one of the sweetest people alive in real life.
He's the sweetest person. He's just exactly like you imagine as you see him on TV and in film. He's just funny and down to earth and awesome. And I took it for granted that I was in his room during his college years, listening to him play the guitar and smoking and all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
Little did I know.
Listening to him concoct his future bangers.
Yes. Yes.
So here's the question then. If you didn't train yourself in getting into acting and land the role in Sleepaway Camp, what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't an actor?
I say this every day. I love children. I love kids. I adore children. I really wanted to be a preschool teacher. I was out to lunch with friends today, and I was talking about how deeply I love my kids. And had I started younger, I started really late because I thought I should party until I was like, 106 and haven't stopped. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. I mean, no judgment.
I mean, I'm 40. I'm 40,
and
and I'm having my first child in October, so I feel you.
And the party's not stopping here either. So.
No, fuck no.
Oh, exactly. I had my son at 40, and I had a big bash and had a couple of glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Hell
I don't know. I love life. I love life. I love people. I am so grateful for anything that has to do with travel, people connecting, talking to you. I'm just really thankful. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course. We're so happy to have you. And piggybacking off what you just said, you love travel. What are a couple of your favorite cities in the United States? Or actually in the world? Where are your couple of top favorite cities?
In the world?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a huge fan of Hawaii.
Hell yeah.
Well, okay.
So give me Maui or Honolulu any day.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who hates Hawaii. Someone's like, you know what sucks? The beach, Hawaii, coconuts.
Right.
I'm saying something completely crazy. I love Europe.
Sure.
I love our country. We have so many beautiful cities all across our great nation, and I've been so fortunate. Last week I was in Nashville. Amazing.
Hell
Great
yeah.
town. Yeah.
Atlantic City the week before that. Like really and truly, I try to take time out when I'm at conventions to sort of take in the landscape, people, food. I love eating.
The food.
Hey,
Yeah, you got to try the food
All right,
everywhere you go.
all right. Who has the best pizza?
Come on.
Well, she's a New Yorker. She's going to say New York.
It's a trick question. New York obviously has the best pizza.
The best pizza in the world. When I took my kids there for the first time, I couldn't wait for them to devour what I grew up on. They were like, this is badass. It's like Mamma Mia's in Manhattan. Midtown.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mamma Mia's.
Was incredible. And I have pictures because they were videotaping me like, you're a nut. You're our nut, but okay. So yeah, it was great. It was amazing.
I think every New Yorker has their own favorite pizza place, right? Like,
I think so. I mean,
it's almost a competitive sport to try and find the most like hole in the wall but best pizza place that there is.
Yeah, the deepest cut, right?
Yeah.
But also like my family's in Brooklyn too and Queens, and I'm so happy that I came outside to get away from dogs and they let them out so that I could deal with that.
I was going to ask, it sounds like you got a doggy there.
Yeah, of course. Oh, of course. I live in a zoo. I live in a zoo.
We're big pet.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 2 dogs, 2 weenies, and
dachshunds.
Oh, so cute. Yeah.
What are their names?
Sugar and Cosmo.
Nice.
And we rescued them. So I take it upon myself for all of the, emotional strife they've been through because they need a lot of attention. And I'm so happy because I also love animals. Like between kids and animals, I could die happy if I'm like in a playpen with them.
We are strong supporters of rescuing and adopting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. From really early on, I started my kids. We work at the shelter, at the local animal rescue shelter.
Cool.
So, and it's so good for kids because it gives them great perspective and it helps, it helps the animals, helps the kids. It's just really good.
Being around animals. Yeah. It helps develop compassion early on too with the animals.
Yeah. I've read so much about how important it is for children to be surrounded by animals because of their emotional growth. It really, and I watch my kids with our dogs and it's so sweet. It's just really nice.
I think there's a sort of almost instinctual empathy that animals have that human beings maybe don't. And I think that kids learn that from animals, just sort of an instinctual ability to like bond with something else. Right? Like that's not necessarily a very human characteristic.
Yeah,
you
and
see
I don't
it in
even
animals
think
all the
just
time.
kids either, because I think just being around dogs just generally is good for anybody or animals
it's so
in general.
It makes
right?
you feel so
better,
good.
right? You could be stressed out, anxiety ridden, but like if you're holding and petting an animal, like that's not going to last too long. It's just going to melt away.
And you look in their eyes, and it's like there's just so much love between. I adore my babies. They sleep on top of me. I love them.
Oh. They're pure, right? They're animals. They're just pure.
Oh, so beautiful.
So I didn't know this before today, but you're married to Darren Miller of Camp Kill Yourself.
I am
yeah, that is
married
wild.
To that. Yes, he is right here.
That's
awesome.
wild.
You guys are like a hell of a power couple, I think.
Yeah, dude, that's the most punk rock shit ever.
And it's been 20 years.
That's amazing.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I'll congratulate him. He's put up with me for 20 years.
And you guys have even starred in a movie together. So there's got to be a lot of energy between the two of you. How do you guys ground that? How do you keep it down to earth? Or do you even try to keep it down to earth? Do you just let it like, let's see what happens?
Or they just start petting a bunch of animals and
we just pet a lot of animals.
That's
He's
fair.
he'd prefer to live in a world that's just animals. He doesn't even want to be around people.
I can relate to that.
He's like, I just want to be an animal.
Hell yeah.
Yes. He is just super cool. It's so funny. Like, our relationship has been, it's been an incredible journey. We have 3 kids. And we met because he enjoyed Sleepaway Camp when he was 12. And he told his parents that he was going to marry Felissa Rose.
Aww.
And so then he kept harassing me. And I was like, bug off, kid. I'm 7 years older. And he finally came over to the Return to Sleepaway Camp set in 2003. And that's where we met. I met the whole band. They all flew out on a red eye so that he and I could meet. And that weekend he was like, want to get married, want to move to California and have kids. And I was like, okay, let's have more drinks. And that, and that's really it's a lot of fun. I think we're really chill, it's, we just watch horror movies and play with animals.
That's cool. What's your guys' favorite horror movie to watch?
Oh, it's without a doubt, Halloween.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Classic.
All right.
He's like Halloween insane person. I'm Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes. That's my franchise. My favorite.
What are your thoughts on the new one that just came out on Netflix?
Oh my God. Don't kill me. I have not even had, there are 3 movies I'm dying to see. I know. Don't kill me.
I cannot blame you. You're probably the hardest working woman in horror right now. So I'm surprised you have time to do anything at all.
Yeah.
It's Texas Chainsaw X and Scream. I can't even believe I'm saying this.
I haven't seen X yet. I'm not even going to say what I think. I want you to watch those movies, form your own opinion.
I won't influence your decision, but X, we've been told nothing but good. We haven't seen X yet, but we've been told nothing but amazing things about it, and I'm mad at myself for not having seen it yet.
Well, I'm a fan of Ty West. I like his style.
Ty West in general, like
Yeah, I really am quite interested, and the new Texas Chainsaw. I was at Cult Classic. And we were talking about it on a panel. I was on a panel with Joe Bob Briggs, Dave Sheridan, and Darcy. And we had a whole discussion about it. And we hadn't seen it, but it was quite interactive with everyone who was there because most people had seen it and had quite the reaction. And I'm a huge Terrifier fan. So I was listening to Damien Leone is like my God. I think he's a master.
Oh, yeah.
We had David Howard Thornton on the show last year.
Yeah,
he's my buddy.
Dude, yeah, he's great.
You want to talk about somebody who is to their core a New York stage actor? David Howard Thornton.
That man
like
right
that
there.
Guy.
He is.
You only have to talk to him for like 2 minutes to be like, oh, you're a theater actor.
It's like I thought, Berman.
Yep, exactly.
I could do a great David Howard Thornton imitation.
Exactly. Oh, man. He was so much fun, though. We had a great time.
I am obsessed with him. I love him so much. I'm super close with him and Damien, and I actually am such a fangirl that I stalk anyone I love. I stalk, so I stalked them at New Jersey HorrorCon like 3 years ago.
She stalks because she loves.
That's how it's healthy.
Oh my God, that's what I say. I'm like, I stalk because I love. I stalked Adam Green. That's how I got in Victor Crowley.
Oh, great! See, she's stalking her way into movies now. That's amazing.
I'm just gonna stalk Quentin Tarantino next.
Now, that's how we got you on the show. We stalked you onto the show, I think.
No.
It works. People, stalking works. Okay?
It does. My husband, we call him the lazy stalker. My husband wasn't like an aggressive stalker. He was like, he went on Jackass and he wore my Angela face on his T-shirt on the first episode.
No, you can admit it. He stalked his way into your life. It's fine.
Well done.
We all did it.
Yeah, we're all stalkers.
Well, I mean, is being married to somebody who's that, who is at least Jackass adjacent. Like, do you ever just come home to like wild stunts being done in your backyard? Like someone just hurling a porta potty across your backyard?
It's funny you say that because before we had kids, when we first moved in together, we also lived with Rab himself.
Oh no.
Wow.
And that's when we were really in our heyday of partying. Like my husband and I would call this place called Pink Dot at 9 a.m. For a bottle of Jaeger and a pack of Parliaments. That was their diet in 2004.
Oh my God, you're my hero.
Kids.
I'm on a liquid and tobacco diet.
That's all we did. And then we would fight all day. We'd be like, we'd drink the bottle of Jaeger and then fight. And then somehow we'd be okay the next day. So we're still alive.
Well, that's what a bottle of Jaeger does.
I was going to say, Jaeger's a fighting alcohol. Like, I had a buddy in college.
It is.
I had a buddy in college who used to say that no matter what mood you're in, when you start drinking Jaeger, when you're done, you're going to go find a stick with a nail in it and just start swinging it at people in a parking lot.
That's what it does.
It's a fighting liquor.
Yes.
Yeah.
They should just lean into it for the marketing at this point.
It's a fighting liquor.
Oh, and actually, you mentioned Dave Sheridan, and you did a movie.
Yes.
You've done a number of movies with Dave Sheridan. but
29 movies.
That's
Wow.
amazing. It's amazing.
I deserve a medal. Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
But one of them
Yeah.
you shot right here in our backyard, Bloody Summer Camp, with Dave Kerr.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am a little bit obsessed. Want to talk about stalking? I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with Dave Kerr.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah, we're very close friends with Matt Burns as well. He's like one of our dear friends.
Yeah.
Oh my, yes,
Matt
that's
is
how we met.
Yeah.
I love Matt. Will you be at Carolina Fear Fest?
I don't think we're gonna be able to make it. This
Yeah,
year.
so like I said earlier, my wife is currently pregnant, so I have to limit
Oh.
the places that I go this year. Like I have to limit the cons that I go to this year because I have to be like Johnny on the spot and
Yes.
and prepared for anything. So
Yes, don't drink any Jaeger. Be
No,
there for her.
fuck
I
no.
agree. Yes, I'm with you.
But yeah, Matt's great. He used to book the punk rock shows in our
Yeah,
area when I was in
yeah.
high school, so my bands would play. And then, so I knew him through like punk rock shows and music growing up. Then we'd the bands stopped happening, whatever. Fast forward like a decade, I reconnect with this guy at a horror con, and both of us are in like the genre world now, totally separately.
That's so cool.
yeah,
Matt's
it's great.
a
No,
good
Matt's
guy.
a fantastic guy.
he is a force
love
of
that.
nature.
He
Like
is.
it is just
Yeah, he is.
when he starts talking, it's just like, man, I can only understand like every third word,
He
but like
he loves it so deep.
but like he's got to be speaking wisdom.
And he loves it so much more than like anyone else. He
Yeah.
just really loves indie filmmaking, indie horror. Yeah.
That's what I love. Anyone who's passionate about anything, I'm obsessed with them because that just shows how amazing their heart and their soul is. Like when you're just so completely immersed in something and like just love it with everything, so cool.
So it's the best.
Hell yeah.
That's the kind of
Yeah.
people we want to surround ourselves with. Right?
That's all I care about. Yeah.
So
100%.
let's pivot to Sleepaway Camp real quick.
I love that word. Can we all say pivot?
Pivot.
Hmm.
I got it.
Can
from
we say
Jordan.
it like really like elongated though?
Let's
Pivot.
pivot. Yeah.
Somehow you got to put multiple T's at the end.
Yes.
So I think Jordan's got some questions about Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
My big question about Sleepaway Camp, when they were making it, do you think they were aware of the impact it would have on trans culture? Do you think they knew what they were doing, or do you think it was just sort of a narrative plot device?
Zero. Nothing. I think, and I wish I really knew, and that's why we're embarking on this documentary so that I could sit with Robert Hiltzik and get the real info.
Mhm.
Because anytime I've spoken with him about it, and it's not too often because it's not like we're always together and I'm like, come on, let's shoot the shit. Tell me everything about Sleepaway Camp.
Sure.
I've sort of
sure.
had to devise on my own certain, thoughts and beliefs. But he has told me he wrote a beginning and an end. And I said, and you filled it in with the baseball scene. I think he had no clue.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it was sort of a mixture of the 80s and what he just thought was an interesting storyline. Peter being trans was just Peter,
Sure.
but the bullying was the murdering stuff.
Sure.
Being bullied, which was another social,
Mhm. Yeah.
attribute, part of the film, had to do with why Peter was killing. I just spoiled the entire movie for anyone who might be listening.
Oh, come on. People have had decades to see it at this point.
I go around the country now and I do Sleepaway Camp commentary, which is kind of like Mystery Science Theater.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like a combination of Rocky Horror and Mystery Science. 90% of the audience, I'm like, who hasn't seen Sleepaway Camp? I think maybe one person hasn't. The entire audience raises their hand. I'm like, wow.
What? Wow.
No, like 50%. That's an exaggeration.
Well,
Like 50%.
I've always my take on the trans aspects of Sleepaway Camp has always been that it's sort of double-sided coin, right? Because on the one hand, like it's representative, and that's something that was very ahead of its time, even representing the LGBT community in any way. But on the other hand, it also demonizes and connects the idea of being trans with being like mentally ill
Yeah, with
and
psychopathic
a sociopath.
behavior,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So it's
So, and I'm glad we're having this discussion because I know that is a hot topic, and I know, and I have so many trans friends who are my family, and I feel very connected to the LGBTQ plus
Hell yeah.
community.
You're-
Very, very.
hell yeah, you're
very
an
close.
icon.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't. I felt closer in my life and more accepted and more secure from Sleepaway Camp and sort of having these conversations. And I feel as though I'm choosing not to believe that. I feel like we are not going to marginalize. And it was just, again, the bullying, but you're a trans person. And yay for someone to represent, like you're represented, I don't know what the sexuality is of Michael, Leatherface, Jason, Freddie.
Right.
What are there? I don't know unless I talk to Robert what he was thinking. But I believe that I do feel that when you're bullied that severely, and I'm, as we all are, anti-bullies, that she was the anti-hero because she got rid of all the bad people.
Yeah. The victims are all humongous pieces of shit.
Yeah,
pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? Someone just brought up to me the other day for the first time in 40 years. All of the people who died were mean to Ricky. Wait a second. Let's go through it. The cook threw him against the box in the thing. Mel shook him. Mel beat him. Although I did kill Mel because he was kind of on the ground. But think about it. Judy was mean. Meg was mean.
Yeah.
Ricky had to be part of it. Maybe Ricky's the killer. This is what my friend thought. And Angela only killed Mel and Paul.
Interesting.
It's possible. Yeah. Well, and I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head, though, that the real antagonist in the film is bullying.
Yeah.
And it's more about don't pick on people because it's shitty to do that.
I mean, even the mother, right? The weird space cadet mother.
Yes.
Still a bully.
Aunt Martha.
She's bullying someone into living a life that they didn't choose, right? She's forcing this upon her kid.
Absolutely. And I think the movie also helps us think about, because when I'm on the beach with Paul, our own gender identification, our own sexual orientation, it brought up a lot of topics we filmed in 1982.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We weren't really talking about all of this.
Not at all.
So for that, I'm happy. For that, if it brings a topic to light and we can embrace it and love it and be kind with one another, then I'm happy.
Yeah, it's definitely helped continue the conversation and start the conversation in a lot of different communities, right?
Well, it's similar to Nightmare 2, where when they were filming Nightmare 2, I mean, obviously the people behind Nightmare 2 knew that there was a serious gay subtext to it. But
Mark Patton is one of my bestest friends.
Dude, he is a personal hero. I think he's amazing.
Amazing. I have to give a shout out to Mark for being not only one of my most favorite people on the planet, but his doc, Scream Queen, is one of the greatest documentaries. Please check it out. It's on Shudder. Mark is one of the most fascinating, beautiful, kind human souls you will ever meet. Please see him at a con if he's near your city. He's just spectacular. He's an amazing human.
Hell yeah. Well, in the same way that Sleepaway Camp was inclusive and representative, so was Freddy too, without people really realizing it until years later, right? And
and both films kind of, they had their time when they came out, but they were really, really embraced years later, right? They were brought back and loved even harder than when they were first released.
Yeah.
Many years later.
Yeah.
And Mark and I always say Jesse and Angela together. So
that would be a great
I'm here for that ship.
And so you had a 15-year gap between that film and returning to acting. What was going on in that time?
I went back to junior high, to 8th grade, and I really wanted to study. There was only one university I wanted to go to, so I wanted to have good grades. And I felt like as a young person, I couldn't make a great decision on whether or not I should be an actor. I wasn't quite sure. I really enjoyed it to spend the rest of my life in it as a career. So I did some commercials and local theater. And then when I did go to NYU, I also took business and theater so I could kind of figure it out. And it's show business. So you have to figure that out. And then I realized it was a part of my makeup, my fabric, being a creative person. And that's when sort of the internet came out. The internet came out.
It was discovered one day.
It was finally discovered. All of a sudden I have a British accent and it came about. No, all of a sudden you were like, oh, wow, there are websites dedicated to Sleepaway Camp. People saw this movie. What?
Oh yeah.
And then some more directors, got in touch with me via my website, and then I was working and happy and knew I loved this genre more than anything on the planet. And that sort of, I followed just kind of a natural flow and thought, wow, this is all because of Sleepaway Camp. Thank you, Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And now you've become the hardest working woman in horror. I mean, you do so many movies. How many movies did you do last year? Do you even know?
I don't know. It's
A lot.
She's like 100 and...
I love it. I love it. It's just, there's nothing that gives, other than my family. My family's my everything, but they know it. They're number one. But certainly the other side of my Gemini being.
That makes sense.
I'm crazy. No. I always say my Gemini is quiet and loud. Like,
sure.
I love life and being loud and having fun, but then I'm a super homebody. Like Darren and I are home most of the time, like just talking about movies and drinking wine and having good food and just like talking to the kids.
That's the life. That's awesome.
That's all we do.
You're speaking my language.
So in that gap, when you went to Tisch, I believe it's going to Tisch that is the reason you turned down the roles for Sleepaway Camp Part 2. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, because I had just gotten, so when I was 16, I decided to apply early admission and I was accepted. And it was, I think like the next week, Michael Simpson called my manager. I had the same manager from the first Sleepaway Camp. And they asked if I would go sit with him and read with him. And I said, certainly. And I went into Manhattan and I sat with him and I sucked. I was so awful. Like I could not connect with this character. I was like, wait, Angela isn't shy and sweet and introverted and awkward. It was like, all of a sudden she's cracking jokes and funny and wild.
Right.
I was like, I don't know what this is. So I politely told my managers, like, I think, he loved Pamela Springsteen. He really wanted her. And I really wanted to go to school. So it was kind of like, this works out beautifully. And that was the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different Angela Baker in those movies. I mean, not just because Pamela Springsteen takes the role, but just character-wise. Very different.
Yeah, I love her. My husband's favorite Sleepaway Camp is Part 2.
Oh, yeah?
That's funny.
He loves Part 2. And my husband's biggest regret for me, because I always say I have no regrets. Everything's in your life for a reason. He's like, our biggest regret is she didn't do 2 and 3. Imagine how amazing life would be if you had done 2.
Right. for him, life for him, in case he's not being clear.
Dude, are you sure you don't want to well, I and I was also number 2 in that he is madly in love with Jamie Lee Curtis. So he had to kind of like,
she's a silver fox.
Settle.
Yeah.
He is in love with her.
Oh, I get it. So am I.
Yeah.
I get it. She's a silver fox.
Here he is. Wait, Darren. I'm on an interview right now, and we talked a lot about you, and you're my husband and everything. How much do you love Jamie Lee Curtis? I said, are you settled for me? Let's call it what it is.
This is amazing.
You what?
How much do I love Jamie Lee Curtis?
Be honest. Let it all hang out. Or maybe Pamela Springsteen. We're not sure at this point. Part 2's your favorite, right?
They were attractive because they were powerful women.
That's fair.
They are.
Come closer.
He's not wrong.
We need
Springsteen, not so much.
Pam Springsteen, not so much. Why, the character?
She was just crazy.
Attractive.
Okay, but Jamie Lee Curtis is your number 1 girl. Am I number 1 or is? Well, okay, we don't have to go there. Is it like the 2 of us side by side, or did I in 20 years elevate a little? It's me first.
Oh, you won?
Yes.
And she took number 1.
He said otherwise he'd be with her.
They said it would never happen. She beat out Jamie Lee Curtis and Pamela Springsteen.
I beat her out.
Congratulations. Woo! That's good to hear.
What? He's upstairs laughing.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, I mean, don't you also feel
honey.
like
I'll pay you later.
But don't you feel like parts 2 and 3 are severely lacking in like surprise genitalia?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing those 2 parts, those 2 versions, or those 2 chapters of the movie were missing.
Were brilliant. I think they
Was it-
were so good. And I think it's because they really embraced what was happening in the 80s, like in
Oh, yeah.
late 80s, dark, humor, the comedy infused with the horror.
The
It was
campy,
just
campy,
so
campy.
well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so then
Definitely.
you did come back for Return to Sleepaway Camp, and one of my favorite things that you've ever done is when you famously told Fangoria to just fuck off after they gave Return a shitty review. Like, so we have a saying at Camp
What?
Nightmare, don't tell me what to do, and it's a lifestyle, it's a philosophy for us that
Yes.
like don't, and part of that is don't be a dick. And I've read Fangoria's review of it, and they were a dick. And I love that you called them on it. I love that you were like,
Is that what? It's so funny because I was probably very hormonal. I was having babies.
oh,
I had 3 kids in 4 years. So
Sure.
I was like on a loop of like lunacy, I'm sure.
sure.
I was
And
crazy.
I think I was crazy. And I think I'm so protective, if you will, of Sleepaway Camp because
Sure.
truthfully, Sleepaway Camp is my baby. Like I feel like I raised it and watched it grow into this
Mhm.
adult, and like I've said a million times, it's given me a life, it gave me a husband, it gave me kids, it gave me a career. I'll never,
Sure.
I can't show my gratitude enough. So I think I must have been a little hormonal and cuckoos because I go off? People remind me now. They're like,
A
dude,
little-
you went
I
off.
mean, no, I don't think it was
And I
irrational
love
or
Fangoria.
misplaced in any
And
way.
I love Fangoria.
Sure.
Same, which is why their review of Return really didn't sit well with me, because Fangoria has historically sort of backed the underdog movies. They've sort of backed the
I mean, yeah,
the-
Fangoria, especially now, they don't give
Yeah,
bad
and
reviews
the
of horror
fact that they
movies. They
just
just
went-
talk about how much they love them.
yeah, and the fact that they went so hard on Return to Sleepaway Camp,
Was it?
like,
But there were like 2 reviews and they were both really shitty.
yeah, and
There were like 2. I was like, wait, it was bad when there was 1. Now there's 2.
I can deal with
What's
one,
Well,
but
I'm just-
2, Fangoria.
I always get impressed when artists defend their shit, man.
Yeah.
Because art is subjective, and like there's not good or bad art, and I hate when things like Fangoria try to say this is good art or bad art, and I love that you defended it because art, it's your baby, like you said.
Yeah.
It's
But-
like my little baby. And I love them so much that I probably felt like, and I love Michael Gingold. He's like a good friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. And I think I felt almost like, how you can tell family the truth.
Oh, for
Sure.
sure.
Like I can tell my husband, like, what are you doing? Or what are you, why? So I think I probably was going there with them because I was working there for a while. I was
Sure.
a consultant, and I did feel like they were my family, and I still do.
Sure.
I mean, I had my podcast with them, with Kane and Tiffany, and I
That's
still
Casualty
feel
Friday, right?
Casualty Friday, and I
Yeah.
still feel
Fuck yeah.
unbelievably close to them. I love Fangoria today. Phil, he's just outstanding. He's amazing. But I felt like I could say my true, authentic heart, and it was probably shitty and stupid of me.
No.
And I know what you're saying, like, oh, you were protecting your baby, but I think that there's ways to execute. Let's put it
Sure.
that way.
Sure, and I get that.
Calibrate.
I get that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I
I
feel
should
you.
have taken a moment. But that's me. I'm very fiery.
Sure.
Like as soon as I will love you with everything. When you're in my life, you like I'm in love with you. I'm loyal to forever and ever and ever. But also like you're gonna deal with some fire because I'm, Sicilian and I'm
because she's spicy.
Latin and crazy. I'm spicy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, like
she's spicy.
Caliente.
I
I'm
get it.
caliente.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the last drive-in for a bit, because like we have a complicated relationship with Joe Bob Briggs. We tried to meet him once,
Ah.
and he just sort of stared at us blankly.
But we have a good relationship with John Brennan.
We
John
do.
Brennan's
We
been on
love
the
John
show, and
Brennan.
He's a
good-
friend.
He's a friend. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Oh, I love John. I love Joe Bob. I love Darcy. Give
Hell
me
yeah.
this.
They're great.
I'll work it all out.
Well, we think it's great that you guys just feel like from what John has told us too, it's all a big warm family over there.
Oh,
And-
we are a big family. We are a big family.
Hell
yeah. So I just wanted, talk about a little bit what it's like when you get to come on the show and what that feels like, what the set environment's
it's
like.
like probably if there are 5 things in my life that I am so thankful for and like proud of, again, aside from my family, It's the Last Drive-In and Joe Bob.
Mm.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's because I feel like he could have called, that marathon was exceptional. To be a guest on his, oh, there he goes. See, Darren's leaving, blasting his metal music. I think being like a part of his family and being there at the marathon sort of just, can't explain it, like gave me something in my heart, like this peace in my soul that I was like, wow. And I'm forever grateful to Joe Bob, to James A. Janice, who's has the Dead Me channel. He does the Kill Count show. They like sort of infused new life into Sleepaway Camp. And I'm just grateful for that. And it's not only because, oh, you did something for me. It's because I love you. I love who you are. I love what you do. I love what you give to this community. This community is everything to me. The horror genre community is everything to me. And when you give love, I want to give you love.
Sure.
When you give love to everyone in this community, I feel like I just want to squeeze you and hug you.
Yeah.
And that's what really is the best part about it. Like no other genre of entertainment has this community. I don't feel like that is so inclusive and so non-judgmental.
It is the most, my best friends, like truly my deepest, bestest friends. If I had to call like 10 people right now, I met them all at conventions.
Sure.
I'm sure.
Within the past decade.
And you are like always at conventions.
Yeah, you are. You
live on the road.
I am obsessed. I think it's because not only is my love for the genre so deep, but my love for people and this particular community, because we're one. And like I said earlier, I finally feel like secure.
Sure.
And I mean that in all aspects, with myself, with feeling comfortable being amongst a group of people who I feel so warm and so much love with.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's like, you're in high school, you're awkward, you feel weird, you come home, you're like, why did I say that? Or I was always questioning myself. Like I was so insecure about how I looked, about everything. So insecure that I finally found peace. You're gonna make me cry. Now I'm gonna cry.
The cons are like the island of misfit toys where everyone just goes and they all like,
we all love each other.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because Jordan and I have always felt that way with the show. Like that's why we do the show, because it's this inclusive community that everybody can kind of carve out a niche for in it. And like we just talked to Ray Santiago a couple weeks ago from Ash vs. Evil Dead, and he was talking like he's very introverted, I think, by nature, so he gets really overwhelmed at conventions when it's just people. I feel like you're the opposite. I feel like you're an extrovert, and that shit just feeds you.
It's so funny. While I was in Nashville last week with the most beautiful and amazing Stacy and her husband Ben Dixon, they run the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Film Festival. We sat around and like we were talking about it, how some people, I get it, like some people, they're actors, and because I'm a little lapdog, like when I'm obsessed with you and you're an actor, and I'm like, I'll become obsessed with like Naomi Grossman. Okay. So I want to run to her table and like jump on her and like kiss her and lick her and like be all over. But I often forget, like, not her in particular, because she's like me, she's high energy and loves it.
Sure.
But if it's an actor who's maybe a little bit more introverted, they're an actor, so they're doing their job, and then they come to the convention, they're signing. But for me, it's like, it is my life, my world, I want to be the first one there and the last one to leave. I don't want it to end.
Sure.
And it goes far beyond like, acting in movies or producing movies or whatever. It's just a lifestyle of meeting people, loving people.
Yeah.
And the connection of people, because that's all we're going to take with us. And I learned that really early. I just posted, my dad died when I was 20. And the one thing I learned was, we ain't taking nothing with us except how you made the other person feel.
Yep.
So if you're shitty, unfortunately, we're going to remember you're shitty.
Yeah.
But if you're beautiful and gracious and loving, oh my gosh, you are delicious and you made life so much greater and brighter.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said on a deep level. I think that so many people go through life trying to figure out what their purpose in life is. And like, dude, it's really simple. Just try to leave the world a better place than you found it. Right?
that's
Right?
it.
It's that
Yeah.
simple.
Yes,
Like,
it's that. That's it. And it can be as profound as you want.
Try to find something you love to do it, and make the world better.
Yes.
yeah, if you can make the world a little bit more beautiful by doing something, awesome. And sometimes that means you're a really good accountant, right? Like sometimes that means
Oh my gosh.
you
and we
are
need
the
them.
best Roy Rogers
Yeah.
employee ever.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
sometimes it means you're an actor for sure. Sometimes it means you're a teacher.
Sometimes you could be all those things. You could be an actor. You could be an Uber driver. You could be
For sure.
working at McDonald's, and you are making everybody's day because you're doing so many great things. You're
Hell yeah.
helping people get from place to place. You're feeding people.
Yeah.
You're, entertaining people. Whatever it is, just be the greatest, lover of that, and towards others, give your heart, and that's all we need in life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's the best you can do. So, Felissa,
it.
I know we only have a couple minutes with you before you're out,
Aw,
which is a shame. We've loved talking with you so much.
I love talking to you. Thank you.
But we want to ask what you have coming out soon that people should look out for. I know you shoot 200 movies every few weeks, but what's the stuff
Yeah.
you're excited
And
about
give us
that's
the
coming
top
out?
5 projects that you
Yeah.
have coming out.
The top 5 projects coming out. I'm super excited for Go Away, Dave
Okay.
Kerr.
Oh yeah, Dave's new
Oh,
project.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Dave Kerr, Go Away. I played drunk Aunt Mary. I loved every second of it.
Did you
With
shoot that
Tom
out here
Matthews.
as on these
Yes, yep, we did. And it's with Tuesday Night and Tom Matthews, 2 of my favorite people.
Yes,
we
we
love
love Tom Matthews.
Tom was on the show as well. We love
He's
him.
a
Oh,
good dude. He's a
I
good
think
dude.
I'm a little obsessed with both of them. Terrifier 2.
Yes.
We are so excited about that.
Obsessed. So excited about that. So happy. I am super excited for you're making me choose. No, I'm kidding. Massacre Academy.
Okay.
So happy. That's
Okay.
a great one. I had a ball on that
That's
film. I am happy about 2 films I produced called Time's Up and Dark Circles.
Ooh, I've
starring
been hearing a little bit about Time's Up.
Yeah.
Time's Up was so fun. Written and directed by my buddy Elsie Holt, who's just a phenomenal talent, and Cheney Morrow and Damon Maffei and Hannah Thierman and Kamara Cole, and so many just beautiful people in it. And I'm working with them all next week on Late Checkout. We all
Oh,
fly
nice.
to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina.
Beautiful North Carolina. We bunk in a cabin and we're gonna
Nice.
get
Fuck
down
yeah.
and dirty.
Wow, and they're gonna open some Jaeger.
Oh no.
Oh.
There's gonna be a stick
Fight
with a
each
nail in
other.
it somewhere.
You know, now I have to stick to vodka or Pinot Grigio. I have to do light.
More
right?
gentle
I
liquor.
highly suggest the Pinot
Gentle.
Grigio. The Pinot Grigio, you can't go wrong with. In my
You
opinion.
know what? I'm gonna have a little tonight because Darren and I are gonna take the kids out to dinner, and I'm gonna have a little Pinot Grigio.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
hell
gonna
yeah.
cheers to you
Thank
because
you.
I thank you for having me and listening to my crazy ass
Absolutely.
and
It's
for
our
your
pleasure.
patience. And you are so awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
So are you, Felissa.
I love your passion.
Thank you.
We love your passion, Felissa. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for taking the time and being with us today.
Thank you for being amazing and
Yeah.
for being in this genre. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Good night, Felissa.
Have a beautiful night.